Welcome to Dean Signal, your shortcut to being well-informed. Today we're doing a deep dive looking into a topic that, well, it often gets tangled up in misinformation, misunderstanding even.
Yeah, common misconceptions about Islam.
Exactly. We're pulling insights directly from this collection of excerpts titled Clearing the Air on Islam's Misconceptions.
And our mission today really is just to pull out the most important bits of knowledge from these sources, help you understand a faith practiced by, over 2 billion people worldwide.
2 billion, yeah.
And maybe clear up some of those distorted views that, unfortunately, you tend to see a lot.
Right. Think of it as getting a more nuanced perspective.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this then. Probably one of the most damaging myths you hear floating around, you see it in news feeds discussions, this idea that Islam promotes violence, terrorism.
Right. It's pervasive.
What do our sources actually say about that?
Right.
Because it's a serious charge.
Well, the sources we looked at are pretty clear. They say Islam categorically condemns terrorism and any kind of unjust violence. It's fundamental. The Quran itself, the holy book, states very clearly, whoever kills a person unjustly, it is as if he had slain mankind entirely.
Wow.
Yeah. So the real teachings, they emphasize peace, justice, compassion. These extremist actions you see, they fundamentally contradict the core values.
That quote really hits home, the weight of it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to another area where, perceptions often seem quite different from the source material, the stereotype about Muslim women being oppressed. What do the excerpts argue here?
This is a really interesting one. The sources clarify that often this perception comes more from cultural practices in certain places,
Yeah.
not necessarily from the religious doctrine itself.
Oh, okay. Culture versus religion.
Exactly. And what's kind of surprising for a lot of people is that Islam, way back in the 7th century, actually granted women rights that were pretty revolutionary for the time. Things like rights to education, owning property, working, participating in society. These were rights unheard of in many parts of the world then. And for many Muslim women today, wearing the hijab, it's presented as a personal choice, deeply rooted in their faith, a statement of identity, not something forced.
It's fascinating, those historical rights.
Yeah.
Predating so many other movements. Now, here's one that I think catches people off guard, even if they know a little bit about Islam. The idea that Muslims don't believe in Jesus.
Yes. That's a huge misconception.
Right.
Actually, Muslims hold Jesus, or Isa, as he's called in Arabic, in extremely high regard.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He's considered one of the greatest prophets in Islam, born of the Virgin Mary, respected for his piety, his miracles. Belief in him is actually, essential to the Islamic faith.
So what's the difference then?
The key theological difference is how he's viewed. Muslims see him as a prophet, a messenger of God, but not the son of God. But that shared reverence for him and his mother, Mary, it's a profound connection that often gets overlooked.
That shared heritage is pretty significant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, another common assumption. All Muslims are Arabs. True or false?
Oh, definitely false. Not at all. The sources point out Arabs make up only about maybe 15 to 20% of Muslims worldwide.
Only 15–20%. That's much lower than I think most people assume.
Right. Islam is genuinely global. Think about countries like Indonesia.
The largest Muslim population, right?
Exactly. Indonesia, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Nigeria. They have massive Muslim populations. It's this incredibly diverse religion, so many cultures, languages, ethnicities all across the globe.
Okay, and finally, let's tackle a word that gets thrown around a lot, usually with one meaning attached in headlines: jihad, often equated with holy war.
Jihad. Yeah, possibly one of the most misunderstood terms.
What do the sources say it actually means?
Our sources are very clear on this. The word itself simply means struggle or striving. And its most important form, the one that's emphasized the most, it's the internal personal struggle.
Internal struggle. See?
Like the struggle to become a better person, spiritually, morally, ethically. Improving yourself. Now, it can sometimes refer to self-defense, but only under very strict conditions, rules of just conduct. But it is never, ever a justification for aggression or terrorism or harming innocent people. It's mainly about self-mastery, living righteously.
So taking all this in, what does this mean for you listening right now? I think it's pretty clear Islam isn't just one single thing. It's incredibly diverse. Cultures, experiences, individuals.
Yeah, it's not a monolith.
Right, and judging the whole faith by the actions of a tiny fringe group or by, cultural practices that aren't even based in the religion.
Yeah.
It's just unfair. and inaccurate.
And the sources really drive this home. If we want genuine peace and understanding, we have to be willing to, well, learn from authentic sources, engage in honest conversations, actually listen to everyday Muslims, not just rely on headlines or what we think we know.
So here's a final thought we want to leave you with today. How might challenging just one deeply held misconception you have, maybe one we talked about today, maybe another one, how might that fundamentally change your perspective on an entire group of people? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on Deen Signal.